What's up? What's up? How's everyone doing today? Do you guys hear me okay? Just wondering if my mic is all set up properly. What's good, guys? Happy to have you here. Hope everyone's having an amazing weekend. We're going to be taking a look at all of your coin requests. We're going to be first taking a look at all of the essentials like BTC, XRP. Before I get this stream started, I'm just wondering, do you guys hear me okay? I just got a new mic. So Little Prankster is asking, do you think we start the bull run next week? I mean, we'll dive into that. We'll look at Bitcoin dominance and we'll see what it's doing, because Bitcoin dominance, it's so tricky, like let's take a look at this, okay? This is Bitcoin dominance here. And you can see that we had a nice push down, right? But we want to see it sustain, right? Otherwise, it's going to come back up to make a new high. Now, I did say in my last video, right? There's been so many times where I've called the top on Bitcoin dominance and it just kept going higher. And I'm not the only one who has done that. So what we need to do to fully confirm an alt season, right? Like we're starting to see coins pop off, and we're like, okay, yeah, alt season is around the corner. Alt season is around the corner. But to fully confirm that we're entering into alt season, this is what I would want to see. So you're going to come to your chart. Take a look at here. Let me just increase the size of this. So you're going to come to your chart, take a look at Bitcoin dominance on the Heikin-Ashi chart. Okay. And there's three things that I wanted to see. So the first thing would be a red 3-day Heikin-Ashi candle. And we've got that, right? We've got about 5 of these so far. And then what we want to see is a red weekly Heikin-Ashi, and so far we've got it, but this Heikin-Ashi candle closes in about 1 day and 10 hours, so on Sunday. Okay, now the third thing I would want to see is just simply a move. I'll show you guys here. Let me just remove all of these indicators so you guys can see clearly. And the third thing we'd want to see is a move below the 20-week EMA, right? So all I did was I just went to the indicators, typed in EMA. You want to go for this indicator right here by Dr. Sweets, where it says 20, 50, 100, 200. And then go on the weekly. If we pierce below this 20-week EMA, and the other two criteria is fulfilled with the 3-day red Heikin-Ashi, weekly red Heikin-Ashi, and then all we would need to see is just to move below this 20-week EMA, and then that would be confirmation of alt season, right? So we see coins popping off, but just for that extra confirmation, right? just so we know for sure that we're headed into that alt season. Let me just pop up the chat here. So Heinrich is saying, thanks to you, I have awesome gains on XRP. That's amazing. Yeah, we're going to be taking a look at XRP API 3 for sure. Okay, let's dive into XRP, Bitcoin, and then we'll take a look at Total 3, and we'll dive into some of your coin requests. I want to also take a look at API 3 as well. I know a lot of my members are invested into that, so we'll take a look. So taking a look at Bitcoin here, this is what I think on Bitcoin. You can see that this was your left shoulder back in around December to January. Then you add your head. And I was saying in my previous videos, we couldn't definitively say that the bottom was in until we got above that 110K region, and we successfully did it, right? So this was the bottom. Now we're trending up, considering we're above all of the moving averages. We're above the 21-day, 50-day, 21 and 50 period. We're above the 200-day. So yes, we are in an uptrend. And along the way, during this uptrend, you're going to have a lot of shakeouts. Like, look over here. If we look over here on the hourly, you see, you can even consider this was a shakeout. This was a shakeout over here. This was a shakeout. So you just have these mini shakeouts, but you continue the grind to the upside. Okay? So now what I'm thinking over here on BTC is that we're going to have some weekend manipulation, weekend chop, just because there's a little bit less liquidity flowing into the market on weekends. Okay? Then maybe around Monday, Tuesday, we should get the decision of if we're going to pull back a little bit further or continue the rise to the upside. What I'm thinking is we move to around 130,000, see a little bit of a wave for a pullback, and then have continuation up to around the 146, 150K region. Right? This is just a estimated trajectory of where I think Bitcoin is going to go. And you can clearly see that this is an inverted head and shoulders. If we were to just measure the move from the trough right up to this horizontal line here, takes us to around 160K. Now, just a reminder, Bitcoin can continue to go up here and Bitcoin dominance could still tank. Remember that. So even though Bitcoin goes up, Bitcoin dominance can still go down and trigger an alt season. And that's why I said over here, you see this yellow box? This is where smart money is shifting into altcoins. So as price rises into the last parabolic phase for Bitcoin, this is where smart money shifts into altcoins, right? And you can see how far back we've gone. This is going all the way back to 2022. You see, now smart money is shifting into altcoins because we're in this wave 5 of 5, right? They know that Bitcoin is going to run out of steam over here. Okay, it can't just keep going up and up and up forever. There's going to have to be a bear market. But before that, before that Bitcoin bear market hits, we're going to see Bitcoin dominance tank. Okay. Now, taking a closer look at Bitcoin dominance, right? What do we see here on the 2-week time frame? Well, when you take a fib from this high over here back in December 2020 down to this low, you could see we already hit the 78.6% fib. And I'll tell you why that's so important. The reason that's so important is because you usually see huge market reversals, especially in crypto, off the 786. Now, there's no guarantee this is the top over here, because it could come up to the 886 and then top out over here. There's always a possibility of that, and that's sitting at 69.54. Okay, so it's either this is the top over here and we start alt season, or we have one last shakeout and then we start it from up there. Okay, so it's these two levels I'm looking at on Bitcoin dominance. But overall, market is trending up, and yeah, just some weekend manipulation, weekend shop. Let's take a look here at the hourly. Yeah, you see it's just messing around here, just shaking everyone out. So yeah, let's take a look at XRP. See what XRP is doing. Okay, one sec. Just trying to find this chart that I made here. Let me just check over here where I made this chart. Okay, that's not it. I have so many charts, guys, so many layouts that it takes me so long to find where I charted it. So let me just go to it right now. Okay, I charted it right here. Okay, yeah, so this is the XRP Wyckoff reaccumulation setup. Right? We were charting this setup. I was giving this setup to my Discord members all the way back over here. Right? Back when we were around this region on XRP. I was showing them that this was our reaccumulation setup. I even said it in previous videos that the move below this established range, you see how you pierce below the 200 and then you retracted back into the range? This was a clear sign of our spring. Now, usually when you get a push below psychological support, which we did over here back in April 7th, and then you see a violent retraction back into the range, that's where the market maker buys up all of the retail bags that panic sell over here. Okay, and then let's say the manipulation is finished, right? Okay, this is your range. This is your price action, your manipulation. This is where all the retail sell. Then you have the retraction back into the range. And then after this spring, so this is the spring, after this spring comes in, you're going to come back down to the like this. And usually what retail think is that, oh my God, it's going to come down below this low. I better get out. I better get out of the position because it's going to come and take out this low, and then I'm going to be even more in a draw. I'm going to be in a even bigger drawdown. So what do? They sell again. But that just gives the market maker another opportunity to buy, right? So this is your spring, this is your test, and then you have your jump across, okay? And that's and that's exactly what we're seeing over here, okay? You had your spring, and then you have your test, and you see how we were just creaking down like this. I was walking you guys through this schematic in my previous videos. You see how we were just creaking down like that? Just chopping up investors up and down. This is what would be called your creek. So now what we're having is your jump across the creek. So you have your spring, your test. We're above the 200-day moving average, which is our bullish confirmation. We've now had, let me see here, 4 daily candles above the 200-day. Okay, so it's fully confirmed that XRP is going to break out. So now what I would be expecting here on XRP is a move up to the top of this range here. And I'm going to zoom in on this schematic a little bit more. You see how after the jump across the creek, we come down to the top of the range here and we just consolidate a bit. Now, during this consolidation at the highs of the range, you're going to get a lot of people panicking, right? Thinking it's going to come all the way back down, thinking we may be even headed into a bear market. There's going to be a lot of uncertainty at the top of this range here, okay? After this consolidation finishes, we're going to likely have continuation to our expansion targets. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, all of those targets are going to get hit. So what I'm thinking here next week, if Bitcoin doesn't pull back, right, if it keeps going higher, I would be expecting a move to the top of this range here and attack the last all-time high as well. So 3 to around 358. Let me see here. Yeah, around 3 to around 380, and then you have consolidation like right over here, and then we have continuation up. Okay, very simple to follow, very simple schematic. And there's another chart. It's a little bit more technical, and it shows all of the subwaves and all of the interim targets. So I'm going to quickly show you guys that chart, and I'm going to break it down. I just wanted to show you the simple chart first, right? Just so you guys can get a more of a clear picture on where we're headed. Okay, here we go. Okay, this is the daily, or we'll go down to the 4 hours. So this is the 4 hour on XRP. Okay, see, very technical. This is a little bit, it may be a little bit more harsh on your eyes, but we'll dive into it. So I'm thinking here that on XRP, this over here is your wave 1. Right, this was our wave 1 to the upside right here, and then you had your WXY correction, and right now we would be within our wave 3 to the upside. Within our wave 3 to the upside, we are in subwave, we may be in subwave 4 of wave 3. Okay, so so what I'm thinking is we're gonna continue on up after this weekend consolidation finishes here. Going to continue up to around 346, 380, around this region, and then see a little bit of consolidation and then continuation. So this is the chart that I alter for my Discord members. I alter it as the price develops, and I'm basically just showing them this chart. So yeah, very exciting times. And then we can look at some targets as well. Now, you know, the targets are very easy for XRP. All you have to do is go on the weekly time frame. Take a fib from this 2018 high down to this low in March 2020. Look where the 2.618 is, 3.618, and 4.236 extension is. Okay, this is a very simple way of knowing when to sell your XRP. And you know, even the $5 region. Now I know when I say like XRP is gonna start getting overheated once it reaches 5, a lot of people get upset. But remember, I'm fully looking at the chart. right? I'm not looking at any narratives or, XRP, new world currency, none of that stuff, right? If we just solely focus on the chart, we can see that that's where the 1.618 is. And if you look at the 1.786 and 1.702, it's around 5 to 560. Okay, so this, we're going to see some resistance come in over here as well, around here. Okay, basically, just to make things a little bit easier, this is where you'd want to look to scale out. Okay, once we get up here. Now, that doesn't mean XRP can't go to those higher numbers like 19, 20, 100, etc. It can definitely do that. And I want you guys to hold some coins just in case we get that. But just remember that once we get up here, we're going to start to get overheated. You know, we can actually do a little okay, I want to show you guys this. So this is the market cap chart on XRP. 4.236 extension is sitting at 523 billion. So let's take a look here. We'll go to the coin perspective here. One second here. Just pop out this chat. Yeah, don't worry guys. We'll take a look at all of those coins. Don't even stress. We'll take a look at PulseChain, ADA ARB. Let's see what else we got here. PDI. All right, cool. Yeah, we'll take a look at all that. But I want to show you guys this thing on XRP's market cap chart. So the 4.236 is at 523 billion, right? So if we just check this out and then put in 523 billion, we can see, yeah, it's sitting around 884, right? But it's likely going to overshoot that. It's likely going to overshoot 884 and go to around the 4.618. So that would be at 561 to 574 billion. So let's see. Around 940. And 970. Yeah, so around there is where we're going to get really overheated. Okay, let's take a look at PulseChain. Because I know a lot of people in here, they're in love with PulseChain. So we're going to dive into all of the scenarios, and we're going to take a look at incentive token, PulseX, PLS. And we'll take a look at some meme coins on PulseChain, because I'm seeing a lot of them are starting to trend up. So let's take a look at PulseX, and then I'll make sure to take a look at API 3, because I did say I was going to take a look at it. But yeah, this is PulseX here. Okay. Now there's two scenarios here that I see on PulseX. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to go up to the 3-day time frame, and we can delete all of this stuff on the chart. So now what we have on PulseX here is it's just a wedge pattern, basically. Okay. Right. This is your A wave, your B wave, your C, D, and then you have your E wave like this. Okay. Now, the thing with this E wave is that the correction could be over, or it could come down one more time like this for one last shakeout, right? And take out these lows. And I'll show you exactly why, okay? Because within this E wave, you have what's called a triple zigzag, okay? Now, in that triple zigzag, all of these subwaves are gonna divide into three, right? So this is your W, your X, your Y, your X, and then your Z. Okay, now remember, with this Z wave, it can be truncated. So instead of making a lower low, it actually just makes a higher low, and then the impulse starts from there. Or we take out the Y wave low like this. Okay, and it would just simply come down to this trendline support. That's all it would do. Okay, so this is where you'd want to be buying. So from here all the way down like this. Okay, like that. And then to find the targets, it's pretty simple. You just take a trend-based fib, start from the top of this X wave down to the bottom of this Y wave, and then up to the top of this X wave. And these are all of your DCA targets here. Okay. And you see how all of the waves subdivide into three? Okay, A, B, C in each one. And then for the upside targets, it's pretty simple. You just take a fib from this very high down to this low. And these are all of your upside targets here. This is where I think PulseX is going to go once it breaks out, right up here, right at the 4.236 extension, and that's sitting at 305657. But it can definitely overshoot that level, right? It can go much higher. This is just what we see so far. Okay, so this is where you want to be buying your PulseX. It's either this is a higher low and a truncated Z wave, or this is a shakeout and we're going to come down like this, and then we pop off later. Okay. All right, let's take a look at incentive token. So Tillin is asking for incentive. Mina is saying, let's take a look at a high cap coin and show your most bearish scenario. All right. Yeah, we'll definitely do that. Let's take a look at incentive, and then we'll take a look at a high cap coin. We'll probably take a look at Ethereum. And I'm going to show you my most bearish scenario, just so you guys can remain defensive. I know you guys don't want to hear it, and it may be painful, but it's always good to know. Okay, so now there's two scenarios here on incentive token. I'm going to show you it. So now incentive token is either printing an ending diagonal like this, right? This is your wave 1, your wave 2, your 3rd, 4th, and then you come down for your 5th, and this would be just your C wave. So this would be your A, B, C for your B, and then you come down like this. Okay, so you see how we've already hit the 70.2% fib here on incentive token. You see how we hit it right here? We hit it right over here. Now, what do I say in all of my previous videos? I say that if usually in crypto, we get an initial reaction off the 702, gets everyone all riled up and excited, and then we see a flush down to the 786 and 886, and then the real breakout comes from here. So this move up here may be a fake out. There is a possibility of that, and then we come down for a 5th wave in an ending within our ending diagonal, and then we go up for continuation, right? And we'd be targeting these highs over here at around 80, but that would be only after 16, 26, and 44. Okay, so this is the first scenario on incentive token. Okay, we would have a flush down here, and it would show that the correction is not over in the PulseChain ecosystem. Okay, the second scenario is that this was just a sweep. And as long as it can remain above this level right here at $1.33, $1.34 on a closing basis, then we're going to have a breakout above these highs. Okay, so it's like, and like a lot of people are asking me, okay, Pip, should I sell my bag, right? Just in case we get that flush. And my honest recommendation would be to just hodl, seriously, because what if it does this scenario, right? And it does it very quickly, right? Then you're priced out. And if it does come down, you know, maybe you can have some cash on the side or put some fresh capital into it. But just know that if it does do this scenario, you're going to cry. You're gonna get priced out. So just be prepared for both scenarios, but don't be too leveraged on one scenario, right? Don't be too invested in one scenario, just so you can save yourself both ways, right? Okay, so let's take a look at the chat over here. Oh yeah, API 3. All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look at API 3 really quickly. So, you know, I was seeing something very interesting yesterday on API 3. And before I dive into that, what I saw, I'm going to show you the small time frame. So this is the 4-hour time frame here on API 3. When you take a fib from this swing high on March 23rd down to this low, or sorry, if you take a fib from March 11th up to March 23rd, you see how we just came up to the 618 here and we're seeing rejection. there is a possibility that we swipe the lows one more time like this, and this would coincide with a market-wide shakeout. It wouldn't be just API 3. Okay, we would swipe the lows one more time and then pop up from there, and then go in, and then this over here would be the bottom, and then we would go for the macro breakout. Now, in the case that API 3 gets down here, you'd want to look for bullish divergence, because you'd be making a slight lower low. And whenever you have a slight lower low, always pull out your divergence tool, or sorry, your RSI right here, and this is what you want to be looking for. Okay, right, so this is the low, and now let's say API 3 comes down here and makes a slightly new lower low. Your RSI would be making a higher low. Do you guys see what I'm saying? And then we would bottom out from there. Okay, that's the bearish scenario. But just remember, this is not something exclusive to API 3. The whole market would need to do this. Okay, the second scenario on API 3 is that we end up getting above 86 to 89 cent on the daily time frame. Now, in the case we do that, API 3 would go for the breakout towards the 618, maybe see a pullback from there, because you'd be coming towards this resistance level, and then we'd have a breakout towards the 786. Now, the thing that I wanted to show you on API 3 that really caught my interest is that on the 2-week time frame, okay, look at this bullish divergence here on the RSI. See, this was our floor on the RSI. We dipped below it, had some manipulation, popped back above it, and now we're using it as support right over here. Okay, so we'll see how that plays out, and more importantly, the OBV, which is the on balance volume, is increasing, and it's been increasing since June 2022. So although we're making lower lows here, going all the way back to June 2022, we've been making higher lows on the OBV. So it means that smart money is accumulating. More volume is being accumulated into the asset, even though we're making lower lows. And I'll bet you that if we pull out the MACD, we can see some bullish divergence as well. And you see it's kind of crossing up, but just not there yet. But it's there. The divergence is definitely there. Okay, you see? Histogram is turning up towards the 0 line. So it's getting interesting. But we're right at that stage where it's like, damn, is this alt season? Or no, we need one more shakeout, right? And it just boils down to Bitcoin dominance. Will this be the top here? Will we get that red weekly Heiken Ashi below the 20-week? Or will it have one more push up to the 886? Because let's see. I'm just going to pop up this chat. Let me just see any other questions that I may have here. Kai is like, we're so much closer to the Pip Sniper face reveal. Just need XRP to hit 5. Yeah. If XRP hits like 5 to 7, then yeah, maybe I'll do face reveal. But I promise, so I guess I have to. Okay, so Mina, okay, so Makana is asking for cake. I'm really bullish on cake. We're going to take a look at cake. Mina wants me to look at a high cap and show the most bearish scenario. Okay, so I'm going to show you a really bearish scenario for you, Mina. Because I know you said you wanted to remain defensive, but just know that my base case is that we continue on higher, considering we are above all of the major daily moving averages. So the base case would be that this is your A wave, or sorry, no, the bearish case would be that this is your A wave, this is your B wave above the range highs, and then we come down for a C wave like that. Okay, that's the bearish scenario, and the C wave on ETH would take you below the June 23rd low, so below 2100. Okay, that's the bearish scenario, right? Bullish, and that's only if we can't get above this 1.236 extension. If we can't get above 3070, and coming next week we see a very vicious decline back into the range, then yeah, maybe this scenario will become a little bit more likely. And we would also need to see Bitcoin dominance rise as well. We would need to see Bitcoin drop too. But the base case remains that this is just weekend manipulation. We'll probably come down, tap this as support, consolidate a bit, manipulate all of the longs and the shorts, and then continue on up to finally take out this long and dreaded resistance that we've used 3 times. Who would have thought that this would have triple topped? You guys see how manipulated this space is? But yeah, I think it's going to take out this high right here at 4,089. Okay, just going to see some weekend manipulation, some weekend chop. We'll definitely see how the market plays out coming early next week. But yeah, this is what I see on ETH, or hope this answered your question, Mina. Let's take a look at Cake. I really like Cake. It's a coin with really good fundamentals. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, so this is Cake over here. It's just within this pennant. Right? That's what it is. Now, the thing with Cake is that it's in this range, right? And it's been in this range since June of 2022. As you can see, it's just been moving sideways this whole time. My recommendation for Cake, if you hold this coin, do not sell your Cake as long as it remains within this range, because this coin is so manipulated right down to the small time frame that you're going to get priced out if it ends up blasting, right? You may be able to catch a short-term top, right, if you end up trading it. But just know that when it pops off, or when it retraces really hard. Okay, so don't sell your Cake as long as it remains in this range, but only look to accumulate and DCA slowly. But this is what I see on Cake. I do see that eventually we make our way to the top of this range here. At around 450, we may see a little bit of a pullback, considering we've seen a pullback so many times. Right? See how many times we've come up here and seen a pullback? So coming up here and seeing a little bit of a pullback wouldn't be out of the ordinary. But then eventually I would be expecting a move to around $10 to $12, maybe even a wick to 14. Now, you know, when I mention targets, it doesn't mean that it's going to come up here and then go woof like this, like boof. I don't think it's ever going to do that. This is how, and markets don't work like that, right? This is how markets work. price comes up, it hits your target, it's going to come down a bit, and then it's going to come up like this, right? It forms a distribution structure, and it shakes out all of the people who sold too quick or whoever jumped the gun, right? It forms a distribution structure because the last thing a market maker wants to do is sell their bag all at once, because what that would spook investors and they drive the price down against themselves, right? So they don't want to do this, right? They would just want to sell in batches, and in order to sell in batches, you need to create this distribution structure. So just remember, whenever a coin gets close to my exit target, don't sell it all. Sell it in batches, and you want to scale out, right? Scale out, scale out, scale out, scale out, like this. And don't get back in. Don't get back into the market once you sell. Wait for another opportunity. Wait for another 90%, 80% dip. But yeah, this is what I think on PancakeSwap. Really bullish on this coin. I have a lot of Pancake or Cake token. And yeah, this was huge back in the last bull market, November 2020. This coin went up by almost 18x. Let me pop up this chat here. All right, let's take a look at XLM. All right, let's take a look here. Wow, look at this thing go, man. Now, you know, I was saying to my members yesterday, my gold tier members, or I think it was like 2 days ago, I was saying that if you didn't, or if you missed out on XRP in 2024, then the best coin to get into that's very similar and that hasn't broken out fully is XLM. And I'll show you exactly why. Let's put this chart on with a black background just so you guys can see everything. Okay. Now, this is your wedge right here. This is XLM. Now, originally, we were thinking our base case on XLM was that it would come down here, right? Just the way this was looking. But when we saw Bitcoin break out and XRP break out as well, this could have been a truncated E wave. Okay, now I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. Usually when you have a wedge in the market, and you know, this applies to PulseChain as well, right? This applies to the PulseChain ecosystem. Whenever you have a wedge in the market, whether it's a wedge like this or a wedge like this, right? Any type of wedge. You have your A, your B, your C, your D. And now what most market participants think is that the E wave can come down like this and make a low below the C wave, right? Make a new low. And it can definitely do that. There's no doubt it can. However, what the market maker likes to do to trick investors is just take the E wave just above the low of the C wave. Okay, just above the low. And then it pops off from there. And this is what's called a truncated E. Okay, so and it looks like we got that. This was a truncated E wave. And you see how they took it just below, or sorry, just above this low. Okay, so now very simple here. on XLM, if we get a daily close above 0.38367, then we're off to the races. I already said that if we end up getting a daily close above this level, 0.28, then the correction is over. So you may see some chop. You may even see it come down a bit, but just know that it does look like the macro pivot has already taken place, and we'd be headed up to these targets over here, right? Because look, XLM never broke out. It's still in the wedge. XRP, on the other hand, and this is the 2-week time frame as well. See, red on the 2-week. So we've now had 4 weeks of green on XLM. Just want to see a move above this level. Okay, and then we're good to go. This would be your wave 1, your wave 2, your third, A, B, C, D, E for your 4, and then we finish up the last wave in the cycle. Okay. Let's take a look at USDT dominance over here. I'm just gonna put this screen on. I'm just gonna go get some water, and in the meantime you guys can watch USDT dominance on the hourly. Looks like we're trending up here a little bit. Okay, I'll be back. 1 sec. All right, guys, I'm back. Okay, so let's take a look here. And yeah, Bitcoin market's going down a bit. Just some weekend manipulation. Okay. Maybe a quick ABC correction. See how it plays out. Let me go on a blank chart here. Let's go on a blank chart. Oh, this is total 3, by the way. I didn't show you guys total 3. You see, now we've come up and we have 3 highs, or triple highs. This was your first, this was your second, and this is your third. So now this is clearly a resistance level. So that's why we're coming down a bit. So we may come down a bit, consolidate, but then eventually head on higher. That's what I'm thinking. Worst case scenario, it's like this is your A, this is your B, then we have a C wave like this. And this would either be a running flat, meaning the C wave fails to come down below this low, or it's just a regular flat. And then we have continuation up like this. Okay, that would really shake people out if we did something like that. But the base case would be that we just come down a bit, consolidate, shake out some more bears, and then continue on up to attack these highs. Okay, so let's take a look at DEGEN. You know, I think I promised. Yeah, we'll take a look at ACH as well. Okay, cool. All right, let's take a look at ACH and then we'll take a look at DEGEN. So this is ACH. Now I think I made a video on ACH, and I did say that, guys, be careful of manipulation down here. We don't have to get it. We don't have to. But I just want to point the possibility out to you that this is, we've used this support so many times, right? Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. It going all the way back to January 2023, right? So think of how many people or market participants are placing their buy stops over here, right? Because, I mean, thinking of it logically, why wouldn't you place your buy stop there? Because every time we come down to it, we see a nice rise, right? Every single time. But maybe this time, if Bitcoin continues its way down and we do have a little bit of a larger shakeout than we're seeing right now, what if ACH does this, manipulates everyone, takes out this trendline liquidity, takes out all of these buy stops, and then starts the bull market from there? There is a possibility of that, right? Where it just manipulates down, grabs this liquidity, and then off it goes. Now, remember, it doesn't have to do this. It doesn't have to do it, but I'm just pointing that possibility out. But these would be the upside targets. You basically just take a fib from this high down to this low, and we'd be targeting the 618 up to the 786 at 11 to 15 cent, and then if it gets above 0.147, then it's going to 29 cent, 29 to around 33 cent, and then 46 cent. Okay, because remember, this price action isn't random, right? There's a reason every single time we've bounced up and down within this range. This is the market maker's range. This is the range they're using to accumulate XCN. Because if XCN was bearish, then XCN wouldn't be printing a structure like this, right? So we can consider this a bullish structure, but within that bullish structure, we can't rule out fake outs to the downside, right? And that's with every coin. You know where the term HODL comes from, right? The reason they say HODL in crypto so much is because crypto is so manipulated, right? People get shaken out of their positions left, right, and center every day, all day. So the best thing you can do as an investor is just HODL crypto. You want to become a buyer in the range, not a seller in the range. The only time you sell is when you have expansion, right? This is where you become a buyer. So let's say you have your price capitulation, which is your bear market, and then you form a range. You only want to become a buyer at the lower bounds of the range, okay? But you don't want to sell. I mean, if you're a trader and if you have proper risk management, yeah, you could sell this range. You could try trading it. But you just want to become a buyer in this range. And always save capital for that fake out to the downside, because it's that fake out that usually marks the turning point before we have expansion. And this is where you'd want to be a seller. Okay, you'd want to be a buyer in the range, a big buyer on the shakeout and deviation, and this is where you'd want to be selling. Okay, just remember that, because I've seen so many people get shaken out, and yeah, it's not good. But yeah, this is ACH. We can take a look at some more coins. We'll take a look at QNT. Okay, this is QNT here. So QNT may come down a bit. If it does, don't panic. It would just be a C wave, right? This would be your A, your B, and we may come down for a C wave, considering we did come up to this supply zone, which we used back in December and January before dropping over 50%. And we also used it in June and May of 2025. So let's not rule out a minor correction, but overall, the structure is bullish on QNT. Okay. Let's pop up this chat over here. Hope all is well, Imran. Imran wants me to take a look at Kava and XTZ. We'll take a look at ICP as well. DEGEN. Oh yeah, I forgot to do DEGEN. Yeah, we'll take a quick look at DEGEN. We won't dive too much into it. Let's check out Bitcoin for a second here. Is this a fake out? Below the 20-hour EMA? So this would be a 1-2, right? 1, 2, and this would be a 1, a 2, probably a 3, come down for a 4, and then we have a 5 of your 3. Probably something like that would make the most sense. I'm totally eyeing this on what could possibly occur here. And then this would be your third wave. Like this, right? This would be like a 3, like that. Then you come down for a 4, and then you have a 5. That's just like me fully eyeing this. So it won't be exact, but we may get something like this. Okay, let's take a look at DEGEN. Okay, maybe this is your 5-wave move up with an extension in the 5th wave. You usually get that in crypto. Okay, You get this kind of like expanding, broadening wedge formation. That's usually seen in the futures markets. It's called the Livermore speculative chart, and it happens all the way down to the small time frame. So you have this kind of like megaphone pattern, and as soon as you see 4 waves in the megaphone pattern, you want to go long on the 4th wave, because the 5th wave usually overextends. And we see that over here. So maybe this could be an ABC, right? Maybe. If this 786 holds, let's see. Okay, and then this would be your wave 1, your wave 2, and we would currently be within a wave 3, so you may see a shakeout here and then continuation higher. Yeah, I'm not ruling out a shakeout coming early next week. Because think about it, right? All of the retail, they're enjoying their weekend. Probably buying crypto with their paycheck. They see everything breaking out. So a shakeout, maybe down to these lows one more time before they drive it up maybe mid next week or late next week. I think that would be probable. So these are the fibs here on DEGEN. You'd want to look to go long if you see the reversal, or if you see signs of reversal, I should say. Always at the 618 down to the 786. Okay, so if we end up coming back down here, and then we start to see signs of reversal, then yeah, that may be a wave 2. And then we'd be going ahead and attacking the May 13th high, which would be sitting at around 0.009. Just want to see which chart has more history here. See how every time we come up to this level we reject? Every single time. So what is this? This is a high time frame supply zone. So if this is the bottom here, right? Then we'd be targeting up here, right at this high time frame supply. So from current prices, or let's just say it came down over here, be about a nice 7 to 10x. But you need to make sure to sell over here, not financial advice, because this is a clear supply zone. And I like how we swept this low a bit. I like that. So you may see, and now this would be considered your spring in Y coffee in terminology, and this would be your test, right? And then this would be your markup or your jump across the creek. So yeah, this is what I see on DEGEN. Let's go back to USTD dominance here. Let's check this out. Probably going to come down to the 50-hour EMA here. We'll see. Or it could just be weekend manipulation and it stops like right there and then pops up right back up to the highs. I've seen that so many times. Remember, this market, it's designed to shake you out, because remember something. Who controls the market? It's the market maker, whoever has the most money, whoever has the most liquidity to bring to the table. Right? So why would they want us retail to hold any of it, right? They want to shake us out with all of these moves to the upside and to the downside, right? That's why I always say, like, I never really promote futures. I honestly hate futures. And, you know, if you're going to do futures, do it on 2x. It's the best way, right? Because this market was designed to shake out the average investor. So, let me pop up this chat. I want to see what other coins you guys are asking for. Let's see here. CRO coin. Yeah, we'll definitely take a look at CRO. ADA, Flare. Oh yeah, we need to take a look at Flare. And we're going to take a look at Dent. So CRO, Dent, Flare. And yeah, we'll try to get to JASMY. Okay. All right, cool. So now, before we take a look at CRO and Dent, I want to take a look at Flare, because I know a lot of my followers hold Flare, and it's in a very tricky spot. So let's take a look at Flare here. I actually created a layout just for Flare, so we'll check this out. Okay. Okay, so here is Flare. Right now, there's two scenarios that I see on Flare, and I'm going to show you both of them. Okay. Now, look at this scenario here. When we take a fib from this high over here on February 22nd or 26th down to this low on October 2023, look how many times the price is rejected off of these fibs. And you'll only notice this on the linear chart. So make sure you're on the linear chart just so you can see exactly what I'm trying to show you. You see how many times we rejected off of these levels? Rejected off of it here. You see how we were respecting it? Rejecting off of here, over here, over here. We've used these fibs so many times as rejection points, and every single move to the upside gets sold off. Why is every single move getting sold off? Well, that's because you have to see where the price is coming from, where the price is in regards to market structure. And what does the market structure tell us on Flare? It shows us that every single wave is subdividing into three. So this would obviously be a wedge pattern. Now, what did I tell you guys about wedges about 40 minutes ago? I told you that whenever you have a wedge, right, you have your A, B, C, D, and then your E wave, most market participants think it can come down and make a new low. And it can definitely do that, right? And then pop off like that. But sometimes we get a shallow E, and then it pops off like that. So this is where we are in Flare. Okay, it's either this is the bottom, or we come down just a bit more. So like right over here, okay? Right over here is the sweet spot on flare, okay? This is the sweet spot. So it's either this is the bottom around this region, or worst case scenario, flare goes below the 786 on a closing basis, which would be 0.013, and takes out the October and April low. And that would be October 2023 and April 2025. Let me remove these drawings here, just so you guys can see a little bit more clear. Okay, this is what it would look like. So now, remember I was showing you guys the creek? This creek is a very long and painful process for holders. The creek in Wyckoff accumulation is designed to shake out the average investor, tire them out, weather them down, and that's exactly what you get. And as soon as you reach the end of your creek, that's when people just give up, because you not only have price-based capitulation, right? Because from this top here in February 2024, we've gone down, we would be going down by about 85 to over 93%. You have price-based capitulation. But what's even worse than that is time-based capitulation. So this has been going on for almost over 500 days, right? So in the scenario where we sweep these lows, that would be the turning point, because, or this would be called your spring. And then you have the markup phase. Then we'd be reaching our targets at 13 cent, 17, 18, 19 cent, 30 cent, etc. Okay? This is the second scenario. The second scenario states that we end up losing 0.013, and we're unable to get above this supply zone over here, which we've used so many times in the past. You see how many times we've used it as support and resistance. And yeah, basically we're not done the shakeout. But just know, like, this wouldn't only be happening with flare, right? This is not exclusive to flare. The whole market would need to see a push down for this to happen, for this to occur. Or this is the bottom on flare, around here, but no lower than this, no lower than that. Okay, so that's what I see on flare. And you know, it's always good to have some cash on the side with whatever coin you're invested into. Remember, the market doesn't reward those who move too fast, but it also doesn't reward those who move too slow. So if you're balanced, and you know, like, once you get your paycheck, don't put it all in crypto, right? Put maybe 50%, so that if it dips lower, you have some more dry powder. Then you put in another 10%. If it dips lower, you have some more dry powder. Never go all in at once in one shot. It'll never work in your favor. I promise you guys this. But yeah, this is flare. It's either we've bottomed out, we're going to bottom out, or we have one huge last shakeout for your spring, right? You have your range, right? And then within the range, you have your creek. So you have your creaking down, then your spring, take out the psychological support, you have your test, and then you have your markup. Okay, that's what it looks like. Let's pop up this chat. Let me see what else you guys are asking for. Oh yeah, we took a look at flare, CRO. We need to take a look at CRO. Okay, so CRO, I remember doing a chart on CRO like over a year ago, and I still have it here. So now this is the macro chart on CRO, and CRO is Crypto.com's coin. Crypto.com, it's going to be around for a while. They're one of the biggest exchanges in the world, okay? So you don't want to be net short with your bias on the exchange, on the own exchange's coin, right? You want to be net long with your bias. So if this is the true alt season, right, and Bitcoin dominance continues to go down, then we're going to see some really crazy moves on CRO. This is CRO. I'm just going to put this chart with the black background just so you guys can see here. Let me see here. Excuse me. Okay, yeah, this is CRO. So it's either the ABC is done over here, and it very well could be, and then we'd be coming up for a third wave to around 51 to 77 cent. Now, why do I say 51 to 77 cent? That's simply because that's the 786. When you take a fib from the November 2021 high down to the September 2023 low. It's on the linear and the log scale. So 51 to 77 cent, take profit, not financial advice. And then just wait for a new all-time high to take the rest. So at around $1.10, $1.60, $2 to $2.50 region. This is where you'd want to scale out the rest. Now, just a reminder, this is this is just an estimated trajectory. We're going to have to alter these waves as the price develops in the Discord. So if you guys haven't joined the Discord yet, I encourage you to do so. Just click the link in the description below. You guys can pretty much talk to me whenever you guys can ask me any question you want and connect with me personally. So yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys in there. But yeah, this is CRO. As long as this low holds over here on CRO at 0.067, we should be okay for more upside. Right now, when you zoom into CRO, where did we come up to? We came up right to this supply zone. See how many times we rejected off of it? Right, rejected off of it here, over here, over here. This time is no different. So you may come down a bit and then eventually on your fifth attempt, it may be successful. Okay. Otherwise, this just remains in chop zone. This is all just chop. Okay. But overall, if you're bullish overall on the market, then CRO should perform well. Remember, this is Crypto.com's coin, right? Crypto.com's coin is not going to fail as long as Crypto.com remains successful and a key player in the crypto space. Let me pop up this chat one more time here. I'm just gonna get some water, guys. I'm just gonna put this chart to USDT dominance so you guys can have something to look at. I'll be back. One sec, guys. What's up, guys? I'm back. Okay, let me pop up this chat and I'll see what else you guys are asking for. Okay, Dent. Yeah, I didn't do Dent. All right, cool. Let's check out Dent. Take a look at it on this chart over here. So Dent is going to go in for a pullback like the rest of the market. You know, a really good indicator to use, guys? Type in RSI multi-length by Lux Algo, and I kid you not, it calls all the tops. You just have to find the proper time frame. I would recommend the 4 hour and above. Anything 4 hour and above, this indicator is spot on. Like every time it flashes green, a top is about to be put in. That's what I've noticed. But yeah, let's take a look at Dent on the high time frame. And I'm going to show you guys exactly what I see here on Dent. This is what I see on Dent. Right now, it's Chop City. There's so much chop. Like if you look at this going all the way back from March 2024, look how many times we've had a failed breakout. But every single time, the move up was less intense. So what does that tell us? That tells us that the price is being squeezed. And investors are getting shaken out every single time it pumps. So right now, this would be time to DCA and accumulate Dent, not financial advice. And when you buy, don't have the expectation that it's gonna go up right away, like right after you buy. And I don't blame you guys for having that mindset. You guys are all human, right? But that also goes back to my point. Whenever you get your paycheck, don't go all in on crypto, right? Just ladder in. But yeah, this is what I see on Dent. Right now, it's just Chop City. But once this resolves and Bitcoin dominance tanks below the 20-week EMA, like I was showing you guys at the beginning of the video, then Dent is going to go on a crazy tear. I'm looking at a move. Let me see here. Looking at a move up here. So we're looking at 9.3x, 18x, and about 36x. And I think like once it gets up here, it won't be a straight drop down. They're gonna distribute it, and they're gonna play with investors here. So you, like I said, you want to ladder out. And hey, you know what? It may actually go to all-time high and above. It could definitely do that. It can go right above the 786 and go right to all-time high. There's no doubt about that, but I want to make sure you guys are safe, as safe as possible. No, the reason I'm so bullish on Dent is because of what we see on the chart. And what do we see on the chart? We see over 1,000 days, right? Over 1,000 days of accumulation at the apex of a over 2,700 day long wedge, macro wedge. So accumulation at the apex of this macro wedge. And what's the coin that did that before breaking out so crazy? XRP did that. Let's take a look at XRP. And we'll take a look here and I'll show you. This is XRP. This was your wedge. Okay. Boom. And what did XRP do at the apex of the wedge? Well, had accumulation, Wyckoff accumulation. There you go. The only difference is that this is a little bit of a different schematic. Okay, there's two schematics in Wyckoff accumulation. Okay, so you see this. Basically, all you want to look for is just sideways trending price action. So this was almost 1,000 days. This was about 883 days, 870 days. But where was it, right? It was at the apex of the wedge. And then we had the breakout. And now, you know something also interesting that I noticed about Dent is that the OBV is going up. So if we take a look here at Dent on the Binance pair, or the Binance chart, we see that it swept the lows here. You have triple bullish divergence. And we could come down to this trend line one more time. We could definitely do it. It would be a really great shakeout. So although we have consecutive lower lows, we have consecutive higher highs on the 3-day. And then if you take a look at the OBV, which is the on balance volume, we see that although the price has been trending sideways for over 1,100 days, the on balance volume is increasing, right? It's just making a new floor every single time, a new floor, right? And this is what I was showing you API 3 was doing as well. So yeah, really bullish, really bullish. I mean, it's eventually gonna, this correction is eventually going to come to a resolution, and the resolution will be to the upside. Let's go back to BTC here. It looks like it's taking a little bit of a beating. Let's see over here. Go back to BTC. Yeah, this is the 4-hour. Let me overlay it with USTD dominance. So yeah, we may see some weekend manipulation, maybe down to this level right here. Just take a fib. So remember I was showing you guys, this was your 1 and this was your 2. This is your subway, and then now we're within our wave 3 to the upside, okay? And within that wave 3, this would be your subwave 1. This would be your subwave 2. This may be a subwave 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a fib from the bottom of this subwave 2 up to this high. So yeah, you may see some manipulation down over the weekend, maybe a shakeout. And during this, we need to keep our eyes on Bitcoin dominance. Let's see what Bitcoin dominance does here. It's rising. Okay. Remember, we don't have full confirmation that Bitcoin dominance is topped out yet. Remember that. Let me pop up this chat. Thank you so much, Torin. I appreciate that, bro. Yeah, we can take a look at SHX. Happy to have you in here. We can also take a look at XDC, Trump coin. No problem. Let's take a look. SHX, I remember that coin. I remember that coin back in the 2020, 2021 run up. That was Stronghold token. And I remember everyone was flexing all their gains on Stronghold. Like XRP was doing really shit, but Stronghold was outperforming everything. And it looks like it's doing that right now. Stronghold is seeing a nice push up. I actually did a chart on Stronghold here. Let me see. SHX. Okay, yeah, it's right here. Okay, yeah. So Stronghold's next target, it's going up to 0.033, 0.044, and 0.51. This is your range right here. You see this this blue box? This is your Stronghold range, okay? But we haven't had manipulation above the range yet. So I'm expecting a move up here to around these three levels. So we're looking at about 150 to 300% more to go before we can start positioning for a pullback. Okay. Now you can look at this two different types of ways, right? You can look at it like our 5 waves are already in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this would be your ABC correction. So you have your 3 down in your A, your 3 up in your B, and then your 5 wave move to the downside for your C wave. The second scenario would be that this is your wave 1, this is your wave 2, this is your 3rd wave, your 4th wave, and now we're going in for the 5th wave. So both scenarios suggest that we're in the last wave of Stronghold's market cycle. Now, that doesn't mean that when it gets up here, it's going to go poof like that. It doesn't mean that. It means that it may just stall out here. And once it gets up here, just shoot me a reminder and we'll make sure to analyze it again. And we can reevaluate. Remember one thing, guys. The market is always changing. Right? So sometimes I get comments that say, hey, you said the market was going to do this, or you said the market was going to do that. But the market changes, and that's exactly why we're doing the analysis, right? And on YouTube, I can't always update 24/7 because the market changes so quick. So if you guys want to stay up to date with my analysis, then don't forget to join the Discord. Click the link in the description below. Let's go back to BTC over here. Yeah, just some weekend manipulation, guys. Bitcoin dominance up almost 1%. Okay, Bitcoin dominance saw a push off of the 100-day EMA. You see this push over here? Okay, if we get back above the 20-day EMA, it's going right up to these highs here. Okay. You see why I wasn't so quick to jump the gun on calling the top on Bitcoin dominance? I said be very cautious. We don't have full confirmation yet. So let's go back to Bitcoin here. These are the support levels that I'm eyeing right now. These are the 2 levels that are of interest so far. Around 116 to 114. USDT dominance rising. I'm gonna pop up this chat. Yeah. So $5 XRP very soon. Very soon. We're only like what? $2 away from that. Only $2 away. Marcel is saying, Waters Above is saying $15 on July 24th. Okay. You know, the max extension that I see on XRP for this cycle is 13 and 14. I think it may wick to that level, but I know like once we reach 13 and 14, you know what people are going to be saying? They're going to be saying 19 and 27, and then it's just going to be a never-ending cycle. So that's why I say take your profits and be happy with them. Take your profits and don't get back in. And if you think about it, that's why we're all here, right? Is so we can make profit. Otherwise, there's no point really in holding. Let's take a look at JASMY. Ernest is asking for JASMY here. I like JASMY. I already did a chart on JASMY. I'm just want to make sure here. Okay, no, I didn't. Yeah, so this could be your ABC correction. And then this could be your wave 1. This could be your wave 2. Then you have your wave 3, 4, and 5 all the way up there, right? But here's the thing. We need to, in order for a scenario like this to play out, you need to see this low hold. Because if this low doesn't hold, then we'd have to restructure this a bit. And maybe the C wave's a little bit deeper. And this was just a counter trend. You see, we're at that point where it's like, damn, is this alt season or is this just another fake out? But then when you look at coins like Ethereum, XRP, those coins are all popping off, right? So the market may throw us a curveball. We'll see. But as long as JASMY holds this low over here at 0.10, then the base case remains that we're gonna go up for a wave. We're gonna go up for wave 3 of 5, right? Because this is your wave 1, this is your wave 2, this is your third wave, fourth, and then we still need to have our macro wave 5. Okay. And how do we find these wave 5 targets? Very simple. If this is the bottom on April 7th, we just take a fib from this high over here down to this low, and we'd be looking at around 10 cent. We'll also add the 1.786 in there. Yeah, so 10 cent, 14 cent, and then 19 to 22 cent And that would make sense, like 14 to 22 cent, because look at where we rejected in the past. This is a clear supply zone. You see how we were rejected off of here in November 2021? We ended up dropping over 99%. So coming up here, it wouldn't be something out of the ordinary. This is where you'd want to look to exit, not financial advice. Let's take a look at BTC. Still coming down a bit. Probably your A, your B, and then your C wave like that. That would make the most sense. Man, I knew it was looking suspicious on Friday. Everyone was so bullish. I swear, when everyone gets too bullish, we always see a little bit of a pullback. But yeah, we'll see how it plays out over the weekend. And I'll make sure to keep you guys updated. I'm just going to pop up this chat one more time. Work on some other requests that you guys may have. And yeah, I'll try to do another live on Monday morning. Also, I wanted to show you guys Russell 2000. Russell 2000 has, let's see what it's done over here. If we take a fib from this high down to this low, it's gotten above the 70.2% fib. It had a little bit of a push above it, but now it's seeing a move back down. It came up to the 786 on the log scale. You know, I don't know if you guys have seen my last video on the stock market, but there's a big possibility that the stock market may have put in a local top over here. There is a possibility of that. A local top, not a major one, but we'll see how it plays out. This is the Russell 2000. You guys see we have a 5-wave advance already. We already have this 5-wave advance. So will it keep going, and will it defy this wave count? Or will we see a pullback? I want to see how the Russell opens on Monday. It's gonna be a big day, Monday and Tuesday. See how it opens. Okay, guys. So I'm gonna end the stream. I had such a fun time with you guys here. Bitcoin is coming down just a little bit for some weekend manipulation. I'll make sure to put out a video on Monday if we don't end up doing another stream. But just remember to hodl, stay strong, and just know that this looks like pure manipulation over the weekend. Remember, this is the weekend is the best time for market makers to manipulate the hell out of crypto, because there's less liquidity on weekends. Just remember that. The best thing you can do on a weekend is don't even look at the markets. Look at it on Sunday after 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then you get the real moves on Monday and Tuesday, maybe even Wednesday. So it's just pure manipulation here. These are the major point of interest that we'd be eyeing: 116,183, 114,511. And 113,161. And the reason for that is because this may have been a subwave 3 of 3. Okay? Right, so we would come down for a subwave 4 of 3. Right? You have a subwave 4 of 3. And then you have a subwave 5 of 3. And that would be your wave 3. Okay? Like that. So we're still within this third wave here, if this is our wave 2, which I think it is. And we'll also keep our eyes on Bitcoin dominance. I'm really looking forward to how the stock market opens on Monday, more specifically the Russell 2000. And we can't forget our beloved XRP. XRP seeing a little bit of a pullback here too. And as always, if you guys want to stay updated with my analysis, because remember, I can't always upload on YouTube, then definitely click the link in the description below to join the Discord, where you guys can ask me any question you guys want. Get your coins taken a look at. But yeah, this is XRP. These are the supports. Main points of interest on XRP would be sitting at the 50% at 255, the 38.2% fib at 265, and the 618 at 246. So we may see a little bit of a shakeout, but just know that it would be a subwave 4 of 3 of 3, right? So nothing major, really. And always remember that we're still in the midst of this Wyckoff reaccumulation expansion. Don't forget that. We've now had 5 daily closes above the 200-day moving average. Okay, so just remember to stay focused, guys. Hodl, and don't get shaken out. Because just remember, this is what the market makers want us to do. They want us to get shaken out of our positions. But right now, they're running a buy program. They're running a buy program on crypto. So any shakeout would likely be considered a fake out to the downside. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. It was a pleasure being with you, and I'll make sure to update on Monday. See you guys in the next one. Peace out and take it easy.